Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to this event, Social Networking and Personal Branding on the global stage. Today we have a host of Anthony Griffin and me, Kenichi Hamada. I'm internship student at this Blink Roppongi facility, which is co-working space. So before the event starting, let me explain a little bit about Blink, what's Blink, for like 5 minutes. Yes, and about Blink, who we are. Blink is a global community platform powering co-working space for global professionals, and we focus on creativity, connection, collaboration. These three things are mainly come from people, because people use creativity and people gather, and connection gets born, and after that, people can collaborate with others, and that's something that's something that we put values on. And so next slide. Okay, sorry. Oh, fuck. Mess up a little bit, but these are the picture of Blinks. What Blink has: the left top, a meeting room, glass covered and transparent, fancy looking, and second top is me working on some tasks in the private office, 2 seats in 1 room, and third one is actually the most popular room in the Blink this facility, which is phone booth. And in this corona time, you can have a Zoom call in this tiny room and just yourself with some privacy. And when you go to Starbucks, you cannot do Zoom call because there's no privacy, so it's valuable and popular. And left down, this is like 2018, this same room filled with 30 people or 40 people. People are not wearing masks, which is unbelievable from us now, but we used to have more than 150 events per year, and there were so much momentum and people and collaboration, inspiration. So that's the reason why we're trying to take it back. And even though it's online, we can still interact with people and make some innovations, hopefully. And second down is workstation, which has 16 seats. If you have a big team to need some working space, you can rental that space. And down here is one of our staff working with dog. We're pet friendly space, so you can bring your pets and work. Next. And here are 3 pictures that Blink has, and something that normal co-working space doesn't have. The left one is called meditation room. The 2 sides of the room wall is actually a whiteboard, so you can write down your thoughts and brainstorm with your teams. And some people take naps. Very comfy space. And the second one is terrace. Actually, our building's 4th floor has a terrace, where you can see Roppongi Hills and all the buildings around this place, and which is great. And the third one, we have a cafe. Our live attendances can see the bars. We have bars, and barista is working there from 6 to 9, and 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and you can get this beautiful mocha with whipped cream and chocolate sauce. And this is a new thing. Probably nobody have never seen these pictures related to Blink. These are actually our new facility in Nagatacho or Kyoicho. It takes 2 minutes walk from there. And we have 4 private office, 5 private office, which is 2 to 8 seats, and also lounge seats, which has 19 seats, and meeting room down here. And there are drop-in and private office, a monthly plan, meeting room plan, basically same as Blink Roppongi. So if you are around that area, please check that out. It's open from May 31st, next Monday. So yeah, check that out. And this is our mission. Blink as a platform empowers our members and tenants through creativity, connection, and collaboration. And Blink idea action, and this thunder happens, and hopefully you succeed in your business. And this is a slide about events at Blink. These are all actual pictures that we have taken in our events. As I said, we had 150 events per year. And these are some genres that we had in this building. From the left up, tech programming, business entrepreneur, art creative, media communication, lifestyle culture, Blink gathering, which is kind of like like a more professional way to say party. So basically you can do anything, any kinds of events here. So if you want to hold some events, online events, offline events, you can talk to me, talk to our staff, or if you're interested in attending events like this, you can follow our Facebook, which is this one. And actually, Facebook is the platform that we use the most to promote our events. So yeah, I want to take 10 seconds to actually you guys subscribe our Facebook page, like our page. 3, 2, 1, that was enough. Okay, and secondly, this is another promotion. We have YouTube channel, and this is Anthony, today's host, that had, like last year we had events with him, and we posted events video on our YouTube channel, so you can check that. And today also we will post, so you might be going to miss some conversation, and you can check later. So definitely check Blink Community in YouTube. You can search and you'll find out. And please subscribe and like, comments. All right, thank you. This is the end of Blink Community explanation. So I can pass the microphone to Anthony. I'm good. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Kenichi.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks again, Kenichi, for the introduction. So let's start with a question. How many people, whether you're online, if you're online, please type in the chat feed. And if you're here, please raise your hand. How many people here use Facebook? Raise your hand. All right. And again, if you're online, please type if you do. How many people here use LinkedIn? Raise your hand high. Okay. So as expected, there are more Facebook users than LinkedIn users, and we're going to talk about both of those networks and more tonight. So my name is Anthony Griffin. I started Saga Consulting, and with this brand, I help Japanese companies communicate to the world with social media marketing and communications training. And today we're going to talk about social networking and personal branding on the global stage. But first, I'd like to thank Blink for providing this safe environment for me to give you this presentation. So they were so helpful in setting this up and making sure it's comfortable and a safe environment so you can see me here and not behind my computer screen in my apartment. So thank you very much. And of course, once again, I have to thank the team at Life 14 to bring all of this video equipment so we can have these high production values just like we did last year. So big thanks to making this happen, and I hope everyone has a great time tonight. So let's talk about today's plan, today's agenda. So first, we're going to cover social networking. and we're going to focus on professional social networking. After that, we will talk about personal branding, including an exercise that anyone here offline or online can participate in. And then finally, I've saved a lot of time for Q&A. If you like, we can go up to 30 minutes. So I could talk about this topic forever, but today we have a limited amount of time, so I want to give you time to ask questions about anything that I don't have a chance to talk about. So this is today's plan, and I'm looking forward to working with you online and offline. So with that, let me start with my main message for tonight, and that is go where your audience is. Now, who is your audience? These are the people that you want to communicate with. If you're looking for a job, these are people who might hire you. If you are a marketer, you're trying to sell something, these are the people who you want to buy your product. If you just want to network, these are the people you want to connect with. And you need to go where your audience is. Now, let's have some definitions. Let's talk about some definitions. I think everybody here knows what a social network is. Your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and so on. And everyone knows the kinds of pictures and content that we share on a typical social network. For example, I might share a picture of me hanging out with my friends or something like that. Here's one right here. So we're all familiar with this. But who can tell me what a professional social networking site is? Anyone? What's the difference between social networking and professional social networking?
Maybe one is more for fun. One's more for work.
Absolutely. One is for fun, maybe staying in touch with friends and family, where the other we typically use for work or professional pursuits. Thank you. And may I have your name?
TJ.
TJ. Thank you, TJ. Appreciate it. So, on a professional social networking site, we're going to have different content, different images, for example. And today, I'm going to share examples of what you can do to make the most of a professional social networking site. Now, this presentation is focused on people living in Japan, especially Japanese professionals. So we are talking about communicating out of Japan. So let's talk about some of the differences here in Japan. So this is a unique business environment where professional social networking and typical social networking are done on the same network, namely Facebook. So if you go to a networking event as a professional and you meet Japanese professionals, there's a high chance they're going to want to connect with you on Facebook, even for business. However, if you are trying to reach people in other countries, such as America, where I'm from, then you're probably going to need to have another social presence, typically LinkedIn. So let's talk about the differences between Facebook and LinkedIn use in Japan and throughout the world. So this situation creates a challenge. As you can see here, one peculiar feature about Facebook in Japan is that Japanese people typically use it as Americans would use LinkedIn. So like I said, a lot of people in Japan are using Facebook for business and social purposes at the same time. It's a good fit for the culture, no problem if you're interested in doing business here in Japan. However, if you want to connect with people outside of Japan, in other parts of the world, then we have a problem. We have what I call the networking gap. So as you can see here, there are 756 million users on LinkedIn worldwide. However, there's only 2 million here in Japan. If you look at some of the major countries like the United States, we have 178 million users. In Europe, 198 million users. In India, 76 million users. So there's a big gap as far as how many people are using this professional social network in other countries. So if you're in Japan and you're trying to connect with people in other parts of the world, you are probably going to need a professional social networking account. So let's take my home country just for an example, just to show you the size of this gap. So again, we have 178 million users in the US, 2 million users in Japan. Now, this isn't a bad thing. I'm not criticizing anyone. This is an opportunity. So if you are in Japan and trying to reach people around the world, this 178 million plus for this one country represents an opportunity. It represents the people and companies that you can connect with. So why? Why do we have this gap? Why are we in this situation? First, many global professionals, like I mentioned, we're not comfortable mixing our personal and professional networks. Especially, again, I can speak for Americans. We keep our professional networking on LinkedIn and maybe friends and family on Facebook. There's a clear separation, and that creates a gap. Secondly, globally, LinkedIn has become the platform for professional social networking. Now, this is the point where I need to say, I do not work for LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not a client. They have no relationship with me. They just happen to be the premier network for professional social networking. Now, maybe in 10 years, this is going to be a different situation. Maybe I'll come back here and I'll be talking about Facebook for professionals or something like that, Line for professionals. But for now, LinkedIn is the #1 professional network. There are some others out there, for example, Wantedly, which was created here in Japan, but it has not caught on like LinkedIn has. So this is why today we're going to be talking about LinkedIn a lot. But these principles can apply to any professional social network. So I'd like to propose a solution. #1, as I mentioned, go where your audience is. Go to the network that has the people you want to meet. If you are targeting domestically, if you want to market to Japanese people in Japan, then you definitely want to check out Facebook, maybe Twitter. Instagram is also rising as well, maybe even TikTok. However, if you're in Japan and you want to reach professionals abroad effectively, then you're going to need to check out LinkedIn. And the second point I'd like to make is you need to network strategically. You need to take control of your presence on these platforms, and you need to start building the network that you might need tomorrow, today. And we'll talk about that soon. Now, many times when I give this presentation or I just talk to people that I meet, there are a lot of concerns when it comes to starting a professional social network account. So today, I'd like to address some of those concerns and give you some advice on how to get going. So, concern #1, I'm not comfortable bragging about my accomplishments. So this comes from the belief that LinkedIn and sites like that are just places to put your resume online. And they started out like that. Way back in 2002, LinkedIn was basically an online resume. But since then, it has evolved into so much more. And we're going to talk about that later. But for now, my solution to this challenge is remember that your profile doesn't have to be an online resume. You can take control of how you want to use your profile. Now, a simple tip that I like to use is for my past job positions, I like to describe the details, what I did, what I achieved. However, if I'm happy with my current job, I just describe the company I work for. In fact, you can use your current position on LinkedIn to promote your company. So for example, if you work for Toyota and you want to be on LinkedIn and you list, I work for Toyota, in the description box, you can say Toyota is a #1 automaker, we make X cars per year, and so on and so forth. So you can actually use professional social networking to promote the company you work for or your own company as well. Now, concern number 2. I get too many invitations to connect from people that I don't know. This is a big concern, and this deters many people away from professional social networking. So, how do we deal with this concern? For that answer, I'd like to reference the founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman. And he says it is up to you to vet each and every request that you receive. So, unfortunately, this requires a little work. If someone wants to connect with you on a network like LinkedIn, you need to take a look at them. Are they one of your coworkers? Do you know them? Have you met them before? Do they have some connection to you? Are they in the same industry? Are they in the same town? Try to check them out and see if there's anything in common. And if there is, maybe you should connect. If not, feel free to ignore them. Do not be afraid to ignore requests that you don't want to engage with. Now, some people have rules. Some people only connect with people that they know. And that's a good way to create a strong network. Other people set their privacy settings, so it's very difficult to reach them. And that's something we're going to talk about soon as well. So it's up to you to check out who is trying to connect with you, and do not hesitate to ignore a connection you are not comfortable with. Concern number 3. What kind of content should I post on something like LinkedIn? Facebook is easy. We post pictures of our cats and cakes and sandwiches and fun vacations and cars and things like that. But LinkedIn's a bit different, as I showed at the beginning of the presentation. So what can you possibly share? Here is the solution. Here are some ideas. So to start with, you can share news articles. You can share thought leadership. So your thoughts on business through blogs and video content. You can also share company news and updates. Again, you can use LinkedIn to promote the company you work for. You can be a good employee, for example. Event info, like tonight. So probably a lot of you found this event on LinkedIn. And then finally, if you want to, you can modestly share your accomplishments. Basically, my recommendation is share anything that you think will be helpful to your network, helpful to your followers. That's the key to success here. Now, on the other hand, please avoid direct sales pitches or unprofessional content. So if you post a direct sales message as a social media post, it's probably going to be ignored, and LinkedIn's algorithm is probably going to just ignore it as well. So there is a place for direct sales. You can purchase ads on LinkedIn if you want, and that's fine. People are expecting to see ads. People are not expecting to see content that is disguised as an advertisement. And as for professional content, I think most of you know what that is. I should let you know the LinkedIn community is pretty strict. So if you are posting strange things, people probably will report you. So keep it professional, please. Now, here are some examples from my world. First, we have recent projects. So I am a sole proprietor, so I work with many clients to help them, again, communicate globally. So if I write an article for a client, I'm going to share it on LinkedIn. So people see me, people see my client, I give good information to my network, everybody's happy. Another idea, what I call business intelligence. So sometimes I'm posting for my clients on their behalf. And a lot of what we post is basically content. We try to share something that will be useful for our followers, that will be useful for our audience. So in this example, it's a little bit old, but before the pandemic, when everyone was excited about the Olympics, we were expecting a lot of business opportunities for companies coming from other countries. So my client here is a global advisory firm, and we shared this content. Here's how you can find business opportunities for the Olympics. Unfortunately, things are different now, but the example still stands. More examples. Like I mentioned, you can share blog posts. If you're a blogger, put your blogs out there. Again, as long as it's professional content. If you don't want to build a blog outside of LinkedIn, LinkedIn has tools in the platform where you can just make a blog post in minutes. So this is another popular thing to share. And then finally, useful news articles. You know, you can share content from Forbes, Inc., Entrepreneur, anything you like, as long as it's helpful and professional. So these are some examples of some of the things you can share in a professional environment. Next, let's review. So you have decided to start your online presence professionally. You set up your account, you're good to go. Now you have to manage this account. So let's talk about what it takes to manage your online presence. And this is going to be a little interactive. So again, if you're here, let's hear what you have to say. If you're online, please type into the chat box. We're going to have a little quiz. If you've been paying attention, this will probably be easy. So first, true or false? LinkedIn is just for job seekers. If you're here, how many people say true? No one, okay. Any word online, Kenichi?
Not so far.
Not so far, okay,
Yeah.
We'll keep going. So, everyone here is correct. False. And again, if you've been paying attention, this one's easy. This is a warm-up question. So, LinkedIn is used for all of the following, as I mentioned, networking, business intelligence, blogging, and so on. Now, I haven't mentioned the bottom bullet points. Additionally, it's a great virtual contact book. If your job has you meeting a lot of people, if you are networking a lot, LinkedIn is a great way to keep track of everyone you meet. You get updated about their career changes, what they're doing online. It's a great way to keep in touch. I've been doing this since around 2004, and it's just amazing to keep in touch with people that I've worked with in so many different jobs and keeping in touch with my clients. So it's very useful for that. Also, an online work portfolio. If you don't have your own, if you are a designer, a coder, a writer, someone who creates, and you don't have an online portfolio, first of all, you need to get one. Secondly, if you don't want to build your own, LinkedIn allows you to showcase your work. And that is critical if you're looking for a job or you're looking to find clients. So when I was in charge of hiring writers and photographers, the people who had a professional online presence and they could show me their work, they could show me what they could do, they moved to the top of my list. Where people who said they were a writer or a photographer or a designer, but had nothing to show for it, how do I know they can do the job? So consider that feature as you manage your LinkedIn account. And then finally, of course, even though this isn't the only reason to use LinkedIn, you can use it to find jobs or, as I mentioned, recruit. Next question, true or false? And these are real questions that come up in my conversations. LinkedIn is only available in English. How many people say true? Okay, it's unanimous. Any comments online?
False.
Okay, we do have a false.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Anything else? Only false?
Oh yeah, only false.
Okay, so true, false. Well, as of today, LinkedIn is available in 24 languages, and it has been available in Japanese since 2011. Now again, I am not promoting the platform. These questions are the concerns that come up as I network with the Japanese professionals. So if you have a couple languages under your belt, you're probably good, but you don't have to rely on English. All right, next question. Getting a little harder. True or false, everything you post on LinkedIn is public? How many people say true? Everything you post is public. Okay, no trues here. Online?
Two false.
Two false. Okay, it's like in person versus online. All right, but this is a tougher question. This is a tougher question. We actually have false, right? So, like most social networks, LinkedIn has privacy controls. So, you can go in, again, in any of these 24 languages and set your privacy to the level that you like. Now, I should say that by joining a network like LinkedIn, you do have to have a minimum amount of discoverability or searchability. So probably other members can see or find some basic information, but they cannot see detailed information if you set your privacy settings. Okay. True or false? Okay, I promise this one is the most difficult question. Japanese professionals don't use LinkedIn. How many people say true? Oh, TJ?
More or less.
More or less, more or less. Okay. Shin? False. We've got true, more or less, false. Online?
False, false, two false.
Two falses. All right. I apologize, everyone. This is a trick question. So I guess TJ is closest. Basically true and false. As I mentioned, although LinkedIn adoption is low in Japan, just about 2 million people, globally minded Japanese professionals are on LinkedIn and they're very engaged and very active. So if you want to be part of that community, if you want to interact with that community, they are there on LinkedIn as well. So don't expect to find, your friends or a lot of your coworkers there, but globally minded people are there. Now, here are some examples of famous Japanese accounts. For example, Yoshito Hori of Globus. He's an influencer, he shares a lot of great content. And of course, I think everybody here knows Mikitani-san of Rakuten. Also a great Japanese profile to follow on LinkedIn. Okay. Now, we've talked about setting up an account or getting started. We've talked about the difficulties. We've talked about the management of your account. And maybe you're wondering, this sounds like a lot of work. Why should I care? Why should I bother to do this? Let's talk about that. As I mentioned before, building a quality network, and by LinkedIn's standards, that's about 500 people. This takes time. There's no shortcut to do this. So if you have a problem or you're trying to get a client or get a job now, you cannot create this network to help you tomorrow. It's impossible, I'm sorry. So that means you need to start building the network you might need in the future today. Even if you're perfectly happy, you have the best job in the world, maybe you work for Disneyland and everything's great, we don't know what the future is bringing. You might want to change jobs in the future. You might want to start a business in the future. And the challenge is you need to start building the network that's going to help you do that today, even when you're content. So that is the key message. It takes time. Again, I've been doing this since 2004. So that's when I started, and the network that I've built has been wonderful to me. It's helped me with employment, it's helped me find clients, and it's just helped me meet friends and great professionals, in the US and Japan and all over the world. But I started a long time ago. Now, if you are extroverted and social, you can speed up the process a little bit, but it's still going to take time. So you want to get started today. So with that concludes this introduction to professional social networking. Now let's move into personal branding. So let's again imagine you've set up your online presence and you're wondering how to introduce yourself to the world. Where do you start? How do you talk about yourself, your business, or what you do at your job? Today, I'm going to give you a quick template to do that. And you'll be able to do an exercise here or at home online to get you started. So, what is a personal brand statement? I like to divide it into 3 questions that are color-coded here. Number 1, whom do you provide value for? Who is your target audience? So again, we're coming back to that concept of your audience. If you're a business, this is pretty obvious. Who do you want to buy your products? But even as an employee, who do you serve or who do you work for? Who do you want to help? And number 2, what value do you provide? So through your services, through your work, what is the result that your work generates? What is the benefit that your service offers? And then finally, how do you solve problems uniquely? This is what I call your USP. What is your unique selling point? What separates you from everyone else doing the same thing? If you're a designer, what makes your design unique? If you're a writer and you're selling service as a writer, what makes your writing different and superior than the competition? These are the things that you need to think about. So, let's take a look at an example. This is how I typically present my business when I'm networking or introducing myself to potential clients. And you can see the 3 components in this message right here. So I help Japanese companies, that's whom I provide value for, confidently communicate. What value do I provide? Not just communications, but communications with confidence. Confidently communicate with the rest of the world by providing results-driven marketing, content, and corporate communications training. So going back once again, that's how I solve problems. Results-driven. That's what differentiates my services from the competition. So this is one example for me. Now, I would like to give you at least 5 minutes. We'll see how it goes. And I would like you, again, whether you're in the comfort of your own home or sitting here tonight, to make your own brand statement. And here is a simplified template to help you. So basically you need to say, I help by Now for the first blank, you want to think about your audience and what you help them with. And then for the second blank, think about how, your USP. How do you do it? Okay? All right. So let's take 5 minutes at home and here. Use your cell phone, computer, if you need a piece of paper, however you like, tablet, keyboard at home, and fill out your statement. And then after that, we'll look at some examples. All right. Is everyone online okay?
Yeah.
All right. Now, before we move forward, would anyone like to share their personal brand statement? Whether you're online, if you're online, you can type it into the chat. If you're one of the few members here, anyone? Okay. All right, okay.
Efficient way by offering an edtech technology that we are currently working on.
All right, excellent, excellent. So one more time, a little bit more slowly so we can go through each step. One more time.
I help language learners,
Okay.
also English learners,
Okay,
to learn a language in a more efficient way
okay,
by offering them an edtech technology that we are currently working on.
okay, got it. So you help language learners, primarily English language learners, learn efficiently, more efficiently than other methods through education technology. Is that correct?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Any others? Online, Kenichi?
Oh yeah, there are some.
Okay, let's hear them.
Okay. I help people who want renewable more by my wind turbine invention.
Okay.
Oh, that's okay.
All right, so renewable energy.
Yeah.
All right, I have a question and hopefully they'll hear me and they can answer. What is unique about this wind turbine technology? Because I imagine there are a lot of wind turbines out there. So it's a good start, but do they have a unique point they'd like to share? Is it more efficient than others? Does it generate more energy or better results? We'll give them a moment to respond.
Or I can share mine.
Okay, we'll hear
What is
yours and then we'll come back if they would
Okay.
like to respond.
Okay.
Okay.
So I help university students to attend 国際交流 event. It's like international, like interact with expats and expats interact with Japanese students easily by making an application to integrate information about those type of events.
Okay, very nice. So you're targeting university students, you're giving them convenient opportunities to network internationally, and you're also leveraging technology.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Wonderful work.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, any word from our wind turbine developer?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, let's do this. We will continue and we'll start a Q&A session. Some questions have already come in through the chat, so we'll go ahead and get started with that. And then if more information comes in, we'll talk about it in the Q&A session. So with that, we'll do at least 20 minutes of Q&A if there are enough questions. And then of course after that, I will wrap up with some final thoughts. So we already have one question that has come in, so let's start with that one.
Okay. So the first question is, does LinkedIn own your content like Facebook owns your posts?
Ooh.
I think this is about privacy.
Yes,
type
it's
of
about
thing?
privacy, piracy, many things.
Right.
Yes, this is a good question. So I'll repeat it in case anyone missed it. Just like Facebook, does LinkedIn own your content? Now, I'm not a legal expert, but let's assume that they do. Now, you can download your contacts. If you are managing social media accounts, you can download spreadsheets with your posts and stats. But as with anything online, you are submitting data to their servers. And we don't know what happens to it after. You know, all of these companies, they say they protect our privacy, and hopefully they do, but I like to follow the following rule. Only upload something that you want to be seen. And that's why I like LinkedIn, because most people are uploading positive things, things that they're proud of. So that's the difference, where with Facebook, a lot of, especially if you're from America, a lot of us joined the network very early, before we knew what it would become. And so they have a lot more personal data about our family lives and private lives, where LinkedIn, most people are uploading things that they want the world to see. So for example, if I upload an advertisement for this event, if LinkedIn wants it, they can have it. I want more people to watch. So assume that they have your data, but there are tools where you can, you know, download the data that you have submitted. Okay, great question, great question.
So now we have an answer back from the wind turbine guy.
Okay.
Turbine guy. So may I share?
All right.
And my wind turbine is small, quiet, and beautiful, so it can be installed where people live.
Excellent. So coming back to the wind turbine personal brand statement, it's small, beautiful, and quiet, so it can be installed in neighborhoods. Now that is a competitive advantage. That is a USP. That is something that's going to separate them from the competition. So thank you, whoever provided that.
Seiji-san, Seiji-san.
Seiji, thank you, Seiji. That was an excellent example, and I hope it helps you present your products and services online. Excellent. All right. Any other questions, online or off?
I have a question.
Sure.
So I have my LinkedIn account and always want to increase my followers.
Okay.
So if you know some effective way to increase your followers, I want to know that.
All right. Wonderful question. So Kenichi's question is, I'm online, I'm on LinkedIn, but I want more followers. What are some effective strategies to get more followers? This connects back to the point of building your network now, with the future in mind. So my first answer is it's going to take time. So I don't know of any super shortcuts. And how to build this network over time, in my opinion, from my experience, is consistently providing unique, helpful content to your audience. The more you do that, the more your network is going to share it, the more LinkedIn's algorithm is going to share it, and then more and more people are going to become interested in what you have to say. Now, how frequent should you be sharing something? For me, I used to share something every day. Now, this doesn't mean my own blog post or anything like that. That's too much. But I would share some helpful news article or some kind of helpful update every day consistently. And if you do that, your audience should organically grow. So my final answer would be share good, useful content consistently, and you should see your audience grow. And also through that process, you're going to learn what kind of content your audience likes. So in my journey, I've gone through different phases. When I was a marketing manager, I would share a lot of marketing tips and self-help tips and things like that. That was popular for a while. Once I started working for myself, I found that my followers liked some of the things I was doing for my clients. Maybe some of you here are familiar with Kokoro Media. So I produce a lot of content about Japan for Kokoro Media. And that content became pretty popular. So now I mostly share that consistently. So share good, useful content, not sales content, consistently. And if you're helping people, they should follow you and they should support you. Yeah. So great question, Kenichi. Thank you.
Thank you, too.
Yeah. All right. Any others?
So we have another question from online.
Okay.
In Japan, if you want to network with Japanese people while being professional but also have a private persona, is it wise to convince people in Japan to move to LinkedIn?
Ooh, the story of my life. The story of my life. Wow, that is a tough question. If people are interested, it's great to suggest it. You're going to find a lot of pushback, a lot of resistance, if there's not a use case for that person. So if you're trying to make Japanese connections in Japan with people that are reluctant to use LinkedIn, maybe consider making a new Facebook profile and one that you control tightly. So if you're concerned about your old original Facebook profile having too much personal content on it and you can't connect with Japanese people otherwise, maybe make a new Facebook account that is a little bit more professional. In fact, what I did is I created a brand account. So I do have a Facebook page, but it is strictly business. And all it serves is a welcome mat to Japanese professionals who don't want to connect on other networks. One story that I'll never forget is I once met a potential client, a CEO, and he only would communicate via Facebook Messenger. Not email, not Twitter, nothing. And therefore, with him, I would use my Facebook brand account to communicate. So it's great if you can get people to use LinkedIn, but it's a tough sell. So if you're struggling, consider creating a fresh account or a brand account. So great question, great question. All right. Any others? Anyone here? Oh. Everyone's content. Yes.
Our potential target market is Japan, Japanese people, right?
Okay.
So in our case, which one do you think would work better, LinkedIn or Facebook? I know there are only 3 people who use LinkedIn and mostly they use Facebook, right? But since it's kind of B2B, I assume that there are many more kind of global-minded professionals, like you mentioned, use LinkedIn, right? So in that case, which one do you think would work for us better?
Okay. And it's Abu, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Abu's question. You're targeting people in Japan, and you're wondering what network is best. And you're B2B, so business to business. So LinkedIn is a possibility, but you're not sure. So you're wondering what to do. Okay. My advice is you're probably going to have to do some research. So sorry, I got to give you work to do. But that's the beauty of these social media networks is, especially LinkedIn, people are easy to find. So maybe find out who the decision makers are in your target companies and just search for them in LinkedIn. It's a lot easier to find professionals on LinkedIn than Facebook. And then the next step, after you find them, let's imagine you find some key decision makers there, take a look at how detailed their profile is. Do they have a picture? Do they have a profile picture? Do they have some content that they've shared? Do they have a lot of connections? For example, do they seem active? If you notice a lot of decision makers there that are active, then LinkedIn is probably a good idea. Now, a lot of times, and this happens to me, I'll look up a Japanese professional on LinkedIn. They're either not there or their profile is empty. Then I know, okay, this is not going to be effective. So if you see someone with no picture, no content, 5 connections, they're just there, but they're not active, and they're not going to see you. They're not going to respond to you. So you need to find another way, maybe email, Facebook, or maybe in person or phone call, for example. So you have to do a little bit of homework. Remember, this is all about finding where your audience is and then going there. Does that help? Okay, excellent, excellent. All right. Any other questions?
One question from William.
Okay, William.
And this is, okay, he asked, do you know WebTalk, which is like a beta version, combines LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Also, cryptocurrency integration combined.
Okay, so the question is, do I know about WebTalk, which combines all of
these SNS
with cryptocurrency?
Yes.
To be honest, I'm not familiar with that. I'm familiar with platforms like Buffer, for example, or Hootsuite, where you can link up all of your social media networks and make one post that goes out to many. But I'm not familiar with this particular software. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And second question from William.
Sure.
With LinkedIn, when you make posts, do you post things in both English and Japanese? Do you have separate accounts for different languages?
Okay, thank you for that question. That is something I can share my experience on. For me, personally, my target, my audience, typically includes Japanese bilingual professionals. So even though I sometimes communicate in Japanese, really the people that I work with need to have a pretty good understanding of English so we can do the projects we need to do. So for me, I mostly post in English, and I have one account that is English. Now, when I was a marketing manager, we had a bilingual team, and we posted bilingual content. However, that was about 4 or 5 years ago, and during that time, we figured out the best strategy was just to put both languages in one post. Now, regarding accounts, having different accounts, LinkedIn, I believe with their language settings, you don't need a different account for each language. Just set up whatever language you want to be your primary one, and then just post in whatever language you need. Now, if you get into paid advertisements, even from your single account, LinkedIn will just make you choose a single language for your advertisement, at least the last time I used that system. So I don't think you have to worry about multiple accounts. Just choose the best language for your target audience and go from there. And that language could be both in one post, or if you like, you can just post in any language that you feel like. Okay. Thank you. All right. Any others?
Nope, but I have one question.
Sure.
About hashtags?
Yes.
On SNS?
Yes.
Because I feel like, for example, like when I go to a cafe, like I post something, the products like a coffee from the coffee shop, and with hashtags saying just coffee or cafe. And if I want to, increase the presence by that hashtag, just a coffee and cafe has like tons, bazillions amounts of hashtag pictures online. That means like, I feel like it's useless to do that. So like, what do you see on hashtags these days, or any other way to get more presence?
Okay, so Kenichi is asking about hashtags, and we could do a whole seminar about that, but let me do my best to help you out. So Kenichi's question is, how do we leverage hashtags? Certain hashtags like coffee are just too popular, so is there a purpose of even including it? Wow. So let me take a deep dive into this. regarding LinkedIn, hashtags are still pretty useful. I'm finding them to be basically ineffective on Facebook. Twitter, so effective, and Instagram also pretty effective if you use the right ones. LinkedIn is relatively new to hashtags. You know, several years ago, you couldn't use hashtags on the platform, but they do a pretty good job of actually paying attention to your hashtags. Now, which ones do you use? Is something like coffee pointless? You probably want to use a mix. So personally, I stick with 3 hashtags per post, and this is based on the latest data coming out of LinkedIn. They are basically telling us, limit yourself to 3 hashtags. Yes, yes. So my number 1 goal is relevancy. I want the hashtags to really represent what is in my content. After that, I'll usually choose one general one just to get it in the conversation, so coffee or Japan, for example. Then I might try to find something niche, especially if I have a niche audience. So I'll pick a niche hashtag, which is not as popular, but easier to be discovered. And then the third one is just a wild card. You know, I'll choose whatever I feel like and just experiment. But all of them need to be relevant. Now, can you get discovered on a major hashtag like coffee? If your content is good, yes. So several times I've been trending on the Japan hashtag, and that's a huge hashtag. But if I share something that is popular, LinkedIn will notify me and say, your content is trending on this hashtag. And that has happened on the Japan hashtag. So my answer is yes. Out of one of your 3 hashtags, include coffee. And the best way to get that to work for you is, again, share good content. So if it's just a picture on LinkedIn, if it's just a picture of coffee, for LinkedIn, that's probably not going to be good enough. Instagram, sure, if it's a great picture of coffee. LinkedIn, you might need something more convincing, like a very interesting article or an opinion or a thought about that coffee, probably from a professional business perspective. Yeah. So keep using it. Just try to put some powerful content behind it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Interesting.
Great. You got it. All right. Okay, we'll take 1 or 2 more questions if there are any.
Not from online.
Okay. Hopefully that means everyone's content.
Yeah.
All right. Any final questions here? Okay. In that case, allow me to share some final thoughts. So thank you everyone for your questions and your personal brand statements. Let's bring all this together. So I want you to remember some key takeaways for tonight. Number 1, I think everyone understands this now. Go where your audience is. So we talked about B2B, we talked about targeting people abroad, people in Japan. Figure out who you want to talk to and go to the network that they are on. Next, you are in control of your online presence. This goes back to the comment I said where only upload something that you want to be online. And if you do that, you don't have to worry about privacy issues and so on. So take control. Next, building a high quality network takes time. So again, build the network you might need tomorrow or in the future. Today, start working on it because it will take time. And then finally, to get started, to introduce yourself to the world, make a personal brand statement which will help you network online and offline. So with that, I'd like to leave you with one more quote or something I like to think about when it comes to social media. And that is, if in this day and age where everything is online, including you, whether you like it or not, if you don't manage your online presence, someone or something else will. So that means if you're not actively taking control of your presence, then your online presence is going to be determined by what other people are posting about you or saying about you, or what an algorithm is posting about you. So it is critical to take control. So thank you once again, and if you would like to get in touch with me via social media, visit consultsaga.com, and there you can see all of the networks on which I interact. So thank you very much. It has been a pleasure. And now I'll turn it back over to Kenichi.
Okay.
Any comments?
Hope everyone had a good time, and hope you all have a nice weekend after this event. Thank you everyone for coming here and online joining here. Yes, that's a comment.
All right. Thank you very much.